Washington sets 80% and 100% clean power mandates for data centers. Washington lawmakers moved forward this week with engrossed Second Substitute House Bill 2515, approving it out of the Senate Committee on Environment, Energy, and Technology with amendments in a 7-2 vote. The measure now advances as part of a broader legislative effort to address the rapid expansion of large energy-intensive data centers across the state. The bill creates a new regulatory structure for what it defines as emerging large energy use facilities, operations with a contract demand of 20 megawatts or more that are primarily engaged in data processing services. Why lawmakers are acting? The legislation reflects mounting concern over the speed and scale of data center electricity demand growth in the Pacific Northwest. Lawmakers note that data centers are projected to become the largest driver of regional load growth, with implications for energy affordability, reliability, water use, and environmental performance. While acknowledging the economic benefits data centers have brought, including construction jobs and tax revenue, particularly in rural communities, legislators also highlight their intensive use of electricity, water, and refrigerants. The bill outlines 4 core policy priorities: protecting energy affordability for other consumers, safeguarding grid reliability, increasing transparency around resource use, requiring a transition to 100% clean electricity over time, utility tariffs and cost containment. A central component of the bill requires utilities serving these facilities to develop dedicated tariffs or policies by October 1, 2026. Investor-owned utilities must submit them for regulatory review, while consumer-owned utilities must adopt them through their governing bodies. These tariffs must be structured to avoid cost shifts to other customers and prevent stranded infrastructure assets. Required elements include minimum 10-year contracts, collateral and exit fee provisions, charges designed to recover full infrastructure and compliance costs, pricing structures that reflect cost causation, demand response participation, or equivalent peak reduction funding. The intent is to ensure that large new loads do not impose uncompensated financial risk on residential or small commercial ratepayers. Clean energy requirements. Beginning in 2031, qualifying facilities must certify that at least 80% of their annual energy and capacity requirements are met with renewable or non-emitting electricity from generation that began operation after January 1, 2026. By 2046, the requirement increases to 100% clean electricity. Compliance requires retirement of renewable energy credits and coordination with serving utilities, with safeguards to prevent double counting. Reporting and transparency. Facility owners must publish sustainability reports detailing projected energy and water consumption, cooling technologies, refrigerant use, and air emissions. Annual reporting to the Department of Ecology will include water consumption data, energy sourcing, and emissions information. These provisions introduce a more structured disclosure framework than currently exists for large data infrastructure projects. Changes to climate program allowances. The bill also modifies how no-cost carbon allowances under Washington's Climate Commitment Act are allocated. Beginning with emissions year 2029, utilities may not use free allowances for the primary benefit of emerging large energy use facilities. This change further reinforces the principle that these facilities should bear their own compliance-related costs. Tax incentives with conditions. The legislation creates a limited sales and use tax exemption for eligible computer data centers located east of the Cascades that border another state and meet size thresholds. However, the exemption includes job creation requirements tied to family wage positions, green building certification mandates, prevailing wage and project labor agreement requirements, a 2029 sunset review by the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Committee. The department may issue no more than one exemption certificate per calendar year, and no new certificates may be issued after July 1, 2030. What this means for utilities and developers. For utilities, the bill introduces new compliance deadlines, tariff development obligations, and forecasting coordination requirements. For data center developers, it signals a more formalized regulatory and cost recovery environment in Washington, particularly for large-scale AI-driven facilities that materially affect grid planning. The measure does not halt development. Instead, it establishes clearer financial, environmental, and operational guardrails for projects exceeding 20 megawatts. With Senate committee approval secured, the bill now proceeds through the legislative process amid heightened scrutiny of how rapid digital infrastructure growth intersects with state energy policy. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.